All right.
Yo.
Coming to you live from Philly. It's the Paulie Tony Fusco NFL Reaction Show.
Yo.
As always, Paulie Fusco here with Tony Fusco and Tony.
Yo.
Huge NFL Reaction Show. So much to get to. Eagles totally clobbering the Packers. And, we know you people out there, you look forward to hearing what we think of all the games because, you can't think for yourself. We didn't want to make you wait until our regular show Thursday. So here we are coming to you.
You're welcome.
So we're going to tell you how the Eagles totally exposed Jordan Love and his potentially criminal plan, Tony.
Yeah.
And even despite the win, Tony, we do have a little bone to pick with Saquon,
Oh, and, we do.
Yeah. Also, we'll tell you what Mike Tomlin has been doing wrong for decades now. Mm-hmm. And we're going to ask the one question about the Bills-Broncos game that everybody is still asking. Now, for the record, just in case you're wondering, we didn't bother watching the Commanders-Bucks game because who cares, Neither of them are going to the Super Bowl, so
doesn't matter.
If you want takes, well, they both suck. So there you go.
Done. There you go.
There you go. All right. Enough of that. Let's just get right into it, Tony, with our NFL wild card reaction.
NFL wild card reaction.
First out the gate, the Eagles totally demolishing the Packers, literally, as it seemed pretty much everyone on Green Bay got injured. I mean, the wide receivers, Tony, it seemed like the only thing they could catch was an ambulance to the hospital.
Yeah.
What do you think was going on there?
Honestly, I started to wonder if Jordan Love was actively trying to get his receivers killed. I couldn't tell if those were passes or attempted murders. You got to wonder, maybe he actually wants to get his receivers killed so that Green Bay's front office will be forced to sign better receivers. If that's the case, that's a bold strategy. Disturbing, but bold.
Just perfect analysis, Tony. And now turning to the Eagles, people, these morons online, they were saying Jalen Hurts didn't have a good game because he only threw for 13 completions and 131 passing yards. But that's because these idiots are reading the stats wrong, aren't they, Tony?
Yeah, why aren't you counting the completions to Saquon? All those handoffs should count as completions. Think about it. What is a completion but the transfer of the football from the quarterback to another player? So really, the adjusted stats show that Jalen Hurts had 41 completions, and since you have to count yards after the catch / handoffs to Saquon and Kenneth Gainwell, that's 264 total passing yards. That's a terrific stat line.
Just such eye-opening statistical analysis there, Tony. And,
Thank you.
While we're very happy about the Eagles winning, we do have one tiny critique with one of the players, don't we, Tony?
Yeah, I have to say, I was not pleased with Saquon sliding instead of scoring that easy touchdown at the end of the game. Let's just say someone I know, not me, had placed a $300,000 bet on a Saquon anytime touchdown. And that someone, again, who wasn't me, might have lost every dollar they have in savings and was planning to use that money to buy an indoor jacuzzi with a tiny diving board. And I'm just saying, Saquon's got to be thinking of these things. You got to be thinking of winning, playoff games and jacuzzis. It's just really disappointing, for that other person, again, who wasn't me.
Just absolutely heartbreaking, Tony, for that person who certainly wasn't you, of course.
Let's just move along. Let's just keep going.
Anyway, let's just move to the other game Sunday. The Bills beat the Broncos 31-7, as everybody on the planet expected. Tony, not a lot to say here. What's your takeaway?
Frankly, I'm still wondering why they even bothered to play this game. You know how in Tecmo Bowl, you can just skip the week and just let the computer simulate the game? I think the Bills and the Broncos and everyone else would have actually preferred that. Nobody would have gotten hurt or bored. The teams could just sit back, have a couple of drinks, and relax and watch the Bills destroy the Broncos in a much more entertaining computer simulation. Problem solved.
So smart, Tony. Don't be surprised out there if next year's wild card games are mostly Tecmo Bowl, right,
Yeah,
Tony?
that would be great.
All right, let's go to Saturday's games. The Ravens beat the Steelers 28-14. Now,
Yeah.
the Steelers still haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
Wow.
And in that time, Pittsburgh's head coach, Mike Tomlin, he's never had a losing record in the regular season.
Wow.
And, well, Tony, that's clearly the problem right there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Hasn't anyone considered that maybe Mike Tomlin has been winning too many games?
Yep.
He's been winning so much during the regular season that the Steelers never feel like they have to get any better.
Yep.
That's terrible coaching.
Yep.
Look at Nick Sirianni. Last year, he knew he was winning too many games, so he deliberately lost almost all the remaining games.
Smart.
And now look, the Eagles are better than ever.
Yep.
That's smart coaching, knowing when to win, but also when to lose so that you could win again.
Just so thought-provoking, that, Tony. And
Thank you.
now to the other game Saturday. The Chargers, they got blown out by the Texans 32-12.
Yeah.
Justin Herbert throwing 4 interceptions. And that has a lot of people saying that Herbert is, quote, a social media quarterback. Tony, what's your take on that?
I always say it's important to look at all the stats when evaluating a quarterback. And
Yep.
yes, on Saturday, Justin Herbert only completed 43.8% of his passes and threw 4 interceptions. But I also ran the analytics on the Chargers Twitter account, and posts about Justin Herbert did generate a combined 76.5K likes and a very solid 48.6K retweets.
Wow.
And on IG, the posts also racked up 15.6K sends.
Wow.
So when you total up all the stats, Justin Herbert is statistically a good quarterback.
Just amazing statistical analysis there, Tony. And
Thank you.
While we're discussing the Chargers, we got to look at what went wrong for Jim Harbaugh in his
Yeah, you
first
have
season
to.
with the team. And
Yeah.
Tony, when you break it down, what do you think went wrong for the coach?
When you think about it, it's very clear why Jim Harbaugh struggled this year. He didn't commit enough recruiting violations.
Yep.
He needs to get back to what made him great, and that's finding loopholes in the rule book to recruit players and then expertly denying all knowledge or wrongdoing. It
Yep.
totally seemed he was playing by the rules this year, and that was obviously a huge misstep by him.
Yeah, just an absolute miscalculation by
Absolutely,
Harbaugh there.
yeah.
Now let's look to Monday night's game. The Vikings, they're going to be playing the Rams on a neutral field in
Yeah.
Arizona after the game got moved due to the fires in Los Angeles. And, well, Tony, something just has to be said here, doesn't it?
We don't like to spread misinformation on this show and more dumb conspiracy theories.
No.
But having said that, how do we know those fires weren't started by Sam Darnold?
Yup.
Darnold's from Southern California. He went to USC. He knows the mountain topography out there. And
Yup.
now suddenly the Rams don't have home field advantage?
Yup.
Very coincidental, don't you think?
Yup.
As they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Well, maybe we should start saying where there's Sam Darnold, there's fire.
Just perfectly valid analysis, Tony.
Thank
and,
you.
just such a perfect note on which to wrap
Yeah,
it up.
absolutely.
Here he
kidding
is.
me?
Here he comes. Has to ruin the show with his needless corrections.
has to.
What? Our
What?
producer.
You just said Sam Darnold started the LA fires.
No, we're just saying he could have.
Yeah. How do we know he didn't? You
Yeah.
don't.
Even for this show and the reckless, stupid things you say, this is an all-time low.
Oh, well, you know what's about to hit an all-time low? Your body when I dump it in the ocean.
Yeah, and on the subject of fire, you're out of here.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah,
Get
you're
outta
done.
here.
Get out of here.
Oh, he's still talking.
still
what? Before
what?
he's fired. What?
What?
It's almost as dumb. You said that handoff should count as completions for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, it's transferring the ball from the QB to another player.
Yeah, it makes total sense, bro.
But the ball doesn't go in the air. You can't count that as a completion.
Oh, well, you know what will be going in the air? You, when I hit you with my Camaro.
Yeah, you know what you never completed? Puberty. Oh, you're
great
done.
one, Tony. And that is a great way to wrap our NFL reaction show. Don't forget, go rate and review the show on the Apple Podcast.
Subscribe,
visit
rate
the merch
and review,
store,
buy all
do
the merch.
all that, buy all the merch. And Tony, great job as always.
Same to you, Paulie. Another flawless show.
There you go. We'll see you people on Thursday.
See ya.